Hi guys, it's about 2 minutes before 5 o'clock Eastern. It's 2 minutes before 4 o'clock Central on this Friday, December 7th, 2012. I'm Stephen Boyle. Well, I know it's been a while since I posted a video. I know some people thought I died. No, I didn't die. It may have been a little sarcastic, but even still, no, nothing happened. I wasn't even sick. I was just very busy. But I'm back, and things are starting to get a little bit more calm around here. And also, weather is starting to pick up as well. Now, I know I've been looking at some comments on the YouTube channel, or on some of the videos, and some people are mentioning how they think that this year is going to be a dud, that it's not going to be like what I predicted, and this and this and this, or that I'm wish casting. No. Absolutely not. Let me explain to you what's going on here. If you remember, and I believe I said this in one of my winter videos, I believe it was actually my final forecast. I believe I said that this winter is going to be a back-loaded winter. Now, that does not mean that we're going to see back-loaded snow that is going to break your back. No. What that means is that the winter will be generally most of the snow and the cold will occur later on, okay? When I say later on, I mean, around the normal start of winter, all right? Not, way before the normal start of winter. I see by around mid-month, things really kicking up here. So I would say wait about a week. Wait about a week. For some people, even less. For some people, they may only need to wait until Tuesday to see their first snow event. Or actually, for some people, their second or their third snow event. And then by the end of this week, or this upcoming week, it's going to get snowy. It's going to get really snowy around here. And we'll sort of explore some of these storms that are coming up. And I'm telling you, the week before Christmas, it's going to be, we're going to get pounded with snow. Absolutely pounded. Not only that, but there's another storm that weekend, the weekend before Christmas. It's going to get really, really active, really, really fast. So stand by, folks. It's going to get snowy, and trust me, this winter is not going to let us down. I am looking at some, I've been looking at some connections that this NOAA meteorologist has been giving me. He's been explaining things, and it's an image that people last year would have loved to see at this particular time. It's really looking good, folks, and it's actually looking a lot better than 2010, 2011 as well. Or it's actually this year, what's so good about it, it's a mixture of 2009, 2010, 2010, 2011. 2009, 2010, it was the Mid-Atlantic. That's because it was generally a positive NAO. Also, in 2010, 2011, it was centered more towards New England. However, this year, it's going to be for everyone. It's going to be affecting people from really Alabama and Mississippi, all the way up to Maine. So this is going to be affecting a lot of people. So if people along the I-40 corridor, I-40, I-20, all the way to the I-95 corridor, get ready. It's going to be a very interesting winter for you. So, and trust me, the southeast, northern portions of the southeast, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, and North Carolina, and Tennessee are not going to be left out of this. So if you, and it could be actually coming around the same time that the Northeast starts picking up their snowfall as well, by mid-month or by around Christmas. So, things are going to pick up here for a lot of people. So, it's going to get really interesting. Virginia, I'm telling you, I know it's been warm lately, but you're going to get, you could get really hammered. So, we'll look at some of this very quickly, or we'll look at what I'm looking at in a few minutes. But first of all, here is the storm that is affecting us. Let me update this. I believe that image was a little out of date. This storm is going to be what we call a Great Lakes runner. We have a little bit of rainfall going on right now. This is all going to be generally moving in this direction. However, rainfall will be affecting, and also what's going on here is you actually got a low pressure here and a low pressure here. These will both move in this general direction. This storm will be moving in this direction. However, you think, oh, well, there's a low pressure right here, so that means there could be some snow. But no, not with this particular event. Overall, the general pattern setup is not good enough. And a lot of the energy with this, it won't transfer to this second area of low pressure. So overall, most of the energy will be staying in here. And you can also see some lighter precipitation is starting to form ahead of the main feature. Okay, so let's look at the teleconnections here. First, looking at the NAO, you can see generally negative. Then looking at the AO, negative. Okay. Now we do have an increase to around neutral, but then watch how it goes negative. Okay. Now, P&A, you're looking at the P&A and you're saying, Steven, come on, it's negative. Now, I was talking to the NOAA meteorologist, and he was telling me that the P&A is something that you don't want to focus all of your attention on it. There are other things that are more major to focus your attention on other than just the P&A. One of the major factors that's going on right now is the stratospheric warming. Okay? There is absolutely phenomenal stratospheric warming that's going on. And what's going on here is this is as this continues to happen, it will break down this Alaskan low pressure area. It will also start breaking down the Barren Ridge, the ridge in the Barren Sea, and we will start seeing a western United States sort of ridge. This will allow storms to come up the coast. Okay, so although the P&A right now is being indicated that it's going to be negative, trust me, it will be. And even if it is negative, there is a lot of other things that go into account when it comes in terms of snowstorms. And just because the P&A is negative does not mean we aren't going to see major snowstorms. That's just the facts. So let's see what's going on here. This is the NAM, and again, this was there's that little low feature up here. Down here, and some of that, there's that second area of low pressure down in North Carolina. We saw that there was some heavier precipitation in here that was ahead of this low pressure, and remember we saw some areas of precipitation here that was associated with this low pressure. All right, now what's going to happen here is you watch how these sort of merge together, and you have like one low here and one low here. Both of them are going to sort of phase, and they're going to sort of move in the same directions, in the same direction. Now, this first storm system will be all rain for everyone except extreme northern New England. So that's overall the situation. We know that this is not an APS runner, actually a Great Lakes runner. So maybe people into Michigan could pick up a good sizable snow event here. We'll see what happens with that. Now, what I'm really watching here is the formation of a low pressure that comes in here around Oklahoma. Also a formation of a low pressure around Minnesota. All right. And we're going to see a cold front that will develop. And what's going to happen here is the question is does this low pressure phase with this front, and where will the majority of the precipitation form? There could actually be some severe weather on Monday between Arkansas and Ohio, so I'll have to watch out for that. Now, what happens is, notice how we start seeing some of this precipitation forming behind the front. If that occurs, we could actually see some pretty sizable snowfall in some localized areas of thunder snow. There could be some localized areas of thunder snow into parts of West Virginia and Pennsylvania. We'll have to see how this occurs and how close to the coast this low pressure wants to move. The Euro has this a little bit farther to the east, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But again, I'm actually anticipating a changeover to all snow for interior New England with this particular system. So there is a chance that we could be picking up some light accumulations into those areas. Here is the Canadian model, and there is that here is the main area of low pressure. Here's the secondary area of low pressure. These sort of, again, phase together, and they sort of move northward. And then there is the front. Okay, it starts off as rain, and the Canadian sort of gives a little bit more better, clearer picture of what I'm actually thinking of is going to happen. Canadian is actually pretty spot on. I believe that this 540 line will be a little bit farther to the east than what it's being shown, but I think the Canadian is pretty much spot on. This sort of shows a pretty close to 40-70 benchmark low pressure system, and again, this is phased with that cold front. So some snowfall occurring going on into western and interior New England. And again, this starts falling, and again, you can see maybe up to 6 inches of snow into southern New England. So we'll watch what happens with that. And then we watch around, we continue watching around Thursday, this area of low pressure that forms. This could eventually move eastward and cause some snow into the northeast. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Now, here is the Euro. And the Euro shows a very clear picture. Here is those two storms. They phase together. They move northward. Then we watch for this little guy down here. And here is that front. Okay. Now, we sort of warm up a little bit ahead of the front. Okay. But here is that area of low pressure that we're really watching. It's the one in Texas that we're mainly concerned about. This is around the 10th. We see a bit of a warm-up. We could be getting into the 50s into some areas of New England. Then, watch how we get this cold air really starting to pour in now from Canada. Now, we have this area of low pressure down here in Virginia. And again, this is a similar track that the Canadian takes as well, which I totally agree with what the Canadian is saying and the Euro. The GFS has the low pressure system a little bit farther westward, which would go ahead and allow that snowfall to be a little bit more inland. But the Euro actually has been showing this since yesterday. So I strongly believe that there could actually be enough snowfall into areas of interior New England that there will actually have to be some plows coming out. I don't think it'll be a major event. I don't think it'll be like, oh my God, this is a lot of snow. But it's going to be enough to where it'll coat things and it'll keep things white. And this is for Thursday. You can see generally about average to a little bit below average conditions. Now, here is our next front or system here. This is our next low pressure system. This is for around Thursday of next week, I believe. No, next Saturday. This is around the 15th. And look at how this cold air is filtering in. This cold air is filtering in into New England. This starts moving eastward, and you'll see it moving up the 40-70 benchmark and bring a lot of the northeast, actually, some snow. Now, the GFS says something a little bit different, but again, we all know the GFS sort of brings things a little bit more progressive. But again, there's the storm, has actually a windy snowstorm for areas of Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, through Pennsylvania, and even into parts of Virginia. Wouldn't be surprised if we picked up a bit of snow. Then our eyes, after this storm starts exiting out, we watch this area of low pressure here. Okay, and this is the area of low pressure we really have to watch. Now notice how this storm just absolutely explodes. I mean, you get wind and maybe even still some lighter snows behind this system. Notice how it also brings in massive cold air. We're talking massive cold air. Now, there's this storm. Okay, now the question is this storm going to come up the coast and give the Northeast a snowstorm? I strongly believe that could happen, and actually the GFS is showing it. And now finally the Euro is starting to come on board. Again, it only goes out to 240 hours, but it looks like the Euro is on board with that as well. So here is the GFS, and this is the 12Z model, and you can see there we are. There's it phasing. There's that first storm. There's that first storm phasing. And then we talk about the frontal system, and again, the GFS is a little bit more eastward. Okay, actually, the NAM was the one that was more eastward with that other storm. But again, the GFS is quite more to the east with that. Now, we start getting this trough in here. Then we have the second storm. Okay, that starts forming out in here. Now, again, what they have is they have this low pressure not really phasing in with this colder air enough. The question is will it phase enough? I actually do believe it will. And again, the Euro shows this a lot better. So I believe the GFS is a little off on their predictions. However, what I do think they're actually taking quite good is this upcoming storm here behind the system. So they're not taking this one quite too well. I think they're good with the QPF amounts, but I don't think they're good with where that boundary layer will be setting up. I also think they're a little bit more to the west. I think it'll be actually coming a little bit more closer to the coast. Instead of taking a track something like this, I believe it's going to take a track something like this. But we'll have to see what happens. Could the GFS be right? Absolutely. But, you know. Here is the second storm, and this storm will definitely, I rest assured, this will definitely be affecting a lot of people. Okay, this will be affecting the South. This will also be affecting the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. This is going to be a major blizzard for some people, and this will produce a lot of snowfall. Here's our next storm system, and this will be coming in for around the This is around the 21st. See how this snow starts spreading into the Northeast by around the 22nd, which really adds the feel to the Christmas season. Now, notice how we actually have quite a bit of colder air finally set out through the majority of the country. So this is, again, so overall, we can definitely see winter is going to really be coming into play here by around Christmas time. Now, we're going to actually look at the GFS ensembles. So, really, let's sort of move to this storm, the one for Tuesday. This is around hour 90. So, let's look at that one. Between 90 and 108 we'll look at. And indicates some, this one indicates a little bit of snowfall for portions of the Northeast. Let's go to hour 96. And this one starts really indicating it. Um, so that's one. Here's another one, really indicating the massive, or not massive, but indicates some good snowfall. Very light. Like I said, this one for Tuesday will not be major. Now this one, whoops, not copy. This one starts really ramping up the snowfall amounts here through a lot of the Northeast here. And I believe that this will actually be what happens. I actually strongly agree because this has a look to it like what the Euro does. So wouldn't be surprised if parts of Pennsylvania through really Massachusetts up into northern New England pick up some snowfall amounts with this. So there is that. So moving on, we'll even move to hour 1:30. Notice how that same ensemble ramps up the snowfall through most of the New England. So that is the first. So that is the first storm. So now looking at the second storm, you can see the second storm starts coming in here. We'll say around the hour 2:16. That's really when we want to look at it. So you can see. Okay, we'll start with this one. You can see it shows a very plowable snowfall event coming in here. Coastal regions about 1 inch to 3 inches. You start moving back out into inland sections. This is about 4 to 8 inches. Then you talk about these areas. This is about 8 to 12 inches of snow. So, you know, fairly good snow. That's with that one. This one doesn't show any, so that's one. This one shows snow, but in northern New England. Here's two. Okay, so this shows a very, decent storm. This shows about 4 to 6 inches widespread through from really Ohio into Massachusetts, northeast in New Jersey or northwest in New Jersey as well. So that's 2. Here's another one, 3. This actually indicates a storm starting to form around into these areas. Whether it moves into in this direction or it moves out to sea like this, I'm not sure yet. But again, this would be according to the. This is according to one of the ensembles. Let's see here. I would actually agree more with something like this, because this actually has a very good look to it, like what the Euro does. So we'll see what happens. And then this is another one that indicates some sizable snow for most of the Northeast in New England. And here's another one. And so let's move on. This is hour 2:16, so we'll move to hour 2:28, and you can see some of this snow. It's a little more deeper here, and actually with the one that I was saying that it looks a lot like the Euro, this actually now has 4 to 8 inches in it, into this area, or locally 6 to 8 inches, widespread 4 to 6 inch snow event. So it's a moderate storm. So that's that, and you can sort of start seeing that this snow in here is a little bit more north. This one starts really bringing down that snowfall, or bringing up the snowfalls as well. Overall, that's the general trend. The first one, the first major one. So we'll see how that continues to progress. Then we have this one. Let's talk a little bit about hour 2:76, that second storm. This one is major. All right, let me just say this one is a very major storm. Let's start with this one. Okay. Notice and just notice how this has snowfall for northern Alabama, northern Georgia, through northwestern South Carolina, through practically most of North Carolina, And again, the lighter snows are up here because, again, the center is, it moves northward. But notice how it has a very sizable snowstorm for parts of extreme northeastern Alabama, extreme northern Georgia, and really the mountains of North Carolina, picking up 8 to 10 inches of snow up into those regions. So, let's move on. That's hour 276. Looking at hour 288. Talk about exploding here. Just look at how it explodes. We're now talking about areas in the mountains of North Carolina picking up, we'll say 12 to 14 inches of snow. We're talking about portions of northern North Carolina through central Virginia picking up about 12 to 16 inches of snow. Now, finally, some of the fringes of this is starting to enter into parts of Pennsylvania. Washington, D.C. is, at this particular time, at hour 288, is under 11 to 12 inches of snow, with the extreme northern fringes entering into New York City. And notice how behind this you have snowfall amounts just going in through central Alabama and central Georgia. I mean, that's absolutely, that's phenomenal for them. This is some areas picking up between 4 to 6 inches of snow. And remember, this is Georgia. We're not talking about the Northeast here. That's very high snowfall for them. Now look at how this just explodes. Look at how we get major snowfall amounts right over Washington, D.C. We have about 20 to 25 inches of snow. Now, I believe it or not believe now, let me sort of, and this is another one, massive snowfall. Still snowfall occurring in through parts of the southeast. We also get some major snowfall up in here. I believe a scenario more like this is more it's a little bit more understandable, but it still shows you that the model, most of the models are indicating snow with this. That's hour 300. Now moving on to hour 312. Now with this particular one, I agree with it, although it has some lighter amounts as this storm moves northward. I actually think that these sorts of 20 to 25 inch amounts will really expand northward. They will. I wouldn't even be surprised if some of them actually extended a little bit more south and northward. But this will be a major snowstorm. This will be our first absolute major snowstorm around, we'll say between the 18th and the 20th. Let's see here. So that is the 20th. That's hour 312. Moving on to hour 324, you can start seeing that the snow extends into northern Maine. So you can really see that things start picking up here. Now, then the final storm that we really want to look at is the one for around the 23rd. That's around hour 360. And again, you can generally see a lot of the models showing snowfall for that. And I actually believe let's move to hour 372, and you can actually see with this particular model showing an enhancement of snow through central Pennsylvania. So we'll see what happens here. That's hour 372. Finally, hour 384. This actually shows some heavy snowfall flowing through most of the Northeast. So if we get a pattern like this that actually sets out, we could be talking about feet of snow on the ground for Christmas. So we're going to have to see what happens here, folks, as we move along through time. There's still a lot to be ironed out. There's still a lot to be cleared out. But again, let me tell you, folks, it's going to get active and it's going to get snowy. So trust me, this winter is not going to disappoint us. It will be very active and we will get snow. Trust me, snow and cold. So And when I said that there will be a lot of people with a white Christmas this year, I was very confident about that. And you can see by this image, okay, many people, the South included, parts of the South included, and going through the Northeast will be seeing a white Christmas this year, or very, very likely. So, folks, I wasn't kidding you. I wasn't kidding around here. Okay. So we're gonna have to see what happens. We'll see how this pattern continues to move along as we move through the next several days. But overall, I see a weak storm for Tuesday. A weak snow event. This would be generally localized into New England. Sorry about that. Localized into New England. And then we have yet another storm that would be coming in here by the end of next week. That could be dropping some good snowfall amounts. And then we have our major snowstorm that comes in here between the 18th and the 20th. And then yet another snowstorm for around the 23rd to the 24th. So, lot of stuff to comprehend, but again, I will be keeping you posted on all of these storms, and we'll continue talking about them, and I'll be, like I said, I'll be giving you updates quite frequently. I'm starting to get a little bit, my schedule is calming down a little bit now, so I can start updating you a little bit more. Alright, everyone, have a great rest of your evening, and I'll be back sometime soon with another update. Take care.